Strange incidents depicting Mother's divine glories. The Narmada River in Gujarat is said to be the place where practically every stone has the shape of a linga. It is therefore customary to procure Shiva lingas from there. While Mataji was in Vrindavan in December 1964, three lingas were brought from the Narmada for the Rajgir temple. However, the Pandits of Vrindavan, for some reason, did not approve of those lingas. When Mataji inquired what to do with them, the Pandits said that they should be put in the Ganga. Since the Ganga is not anywhere near Vrindavan, someone suggested that the Jamuna River could serve the purpose. The day on which the lingas were let down into the river, Mataji felt extremely cold. In fact, she felt so stiff that she could not get up and had the sensation as if Shiva was being drowned. She then sent for the Pandits and asked them to locate those lingas and have them taken out of the water. The Pandits succeeded and Mataji's shivering ceased. The lingas were subsequently set to Varanasi and later to Rajgir. Mataji remarked that there was a natural connection between Shiva and the Ganga. The three lingas in question, however, had by their immersion in the Jamuna carried the love of Krishna to Rajgir. One evening in the ashram at Agarpara, I happened to be sitting quite close to Mataji during satsang. Though I was as near to her as one could be and directly in front of her, I could not see her face. She was lying down and had her arms folded and slightly raised so that her face was entirely hidden from us. Like all who have been caught by her, I had only one desire, which will no doubt sound very foolish to those who have not been so captivated, an intense longing to just sit there and look upon her exalted expression, to see her eyes that ever seemed to be gazing into the beauty of eternity. And it appeared that she was deliberately making that impossible. Then it occurred to me, this is exactly how God hides from us in his universe. With the limbs of his own body, he remains veiled to our sight. I did not take my eyes off Mataji, neither did I observe her move her arm or raise her head. Nevertheless, as soon as that thought had crossed my mind, I was suddenly looking straight into Ma's eyes and she into mine. That still, bliss I gaze enveloped me, and if it was as if it was to say, at last you have understood a little something. The third incident, Vrindavan, March 1965. A strange little incident happened during Mataji's sojourn at Vrindavan. A Parsi gentleman who had come from Ma's darshan from Pune distinctly noticed that the eyes of the sculpture of Sri Gauranga in the Nitya Gauranga temple of our ashram was moving. It was exactly like the blinking of a living person. He was nonplussed and went to the temple again the next day. He again found this time only one eye moving perceptibly. He approached the priest and said to him rather sharply, "Why do you use mechanical devices to produce this kind of sensational effect?" The priest could not understand why he was being rebuked and assured him that no device whatsoever was responsible for what he had witnessed. Greatly amazed, the Parsi gentleman reported the matter to Mataji, who made him repeat it to Sri Hari Babaji's presence. He was told to regard it as a special grace of Lord Gauranga, who had given him darshan in this unusual way. Fourth incident. On 31st March 1965, Mataji left New Delhi ashram for Hardwar, where she stayed at Baghat House. There was a severe rainstorm at Hardwar, and the daughter of a devotee from Bombay, who had accompanied Ma from Delhi, got a severe attack of asthma. The anxious mother wanted to take the child to Delhi by taxi and catch the next plane to Bombay. But Mataji dissuaded her from traveling until the weather cleared up. She then sent a brahmachari to call a doctor. In that inclement weather, the brahmachari had no idea how and where to find a good doctor, and he was about to inquire. As he stepped out of the gate, a gentleman entered and asked, "Do you think I can have Mataji's darshan at this untimely hour?" It was about 2 p.m. "Yes," was the reply from the brahmachari. "If you are a doctor, you can at once." The gentleman happened to be Dr. Major General Sharma from Delhi. He took up the case, and the child was all right the next day. Incident 5. Just as a physician does not concern himself with ascertaining whether his patients are rich or poor, intelligent or stupid, handsome or ugly, good or bad, but treats them simply as ailing men and women whom he has to cure, in a similar way Mataji sees in all human beings her friends, and she meets them accordingly with friendliness. Here probably lies the secret of her irresistible charm. She never has to exert herself in order to be friendly or to act in a friendly manner. In Raipur ashram, one of the ashram girls had, it seemed, repeatedly done what the others considered wrong. "Reprimand her," begged the other girls, "for she does not listen to us. Do please scold her." Mataji summoned the culprit. The expression on Mataji's face was moving and puzzling at the same time. She obviously tried hard to look severe, but the mask of anger was only too transparent and brittle, and her voice expressed the same play of hide and seek behind her pretended unfriendliness. Suddenly she turned round on her heel and started laughing heartily. Still laughing, she stood before the girl like a child that has been caught. Ma then said, "Don't you know that I cannot be angry with anyone? How then could I scold her?" Incident 6. Varanasi, August 1949. Mataji was seated in her usual place in the hall with only a few ashramites on either side of her. Nobody had ventured out into the pouring rain. Exactly opposite to Mataji at the west end of the hall, an emaciated old lady was lying on her bedclothes that had been spread on the floor. She was very ill and had shifted to the ashram a few weeks ago, as she wished to die with Mataji's presence nearby and in sight of the Ganga. Her last hour had obviously come. Her son had been called, and he was sitting close by, chanting holy texts, while her daughter was attending on her. The dying woman had a rosary in her hand. She was hardly breathing, though evidently fully conscious. Mataji was watching her intently. Off and on she would shout loudly, "Mother, are you doing japa?" The old lady could respond only through almost imperceptible gestures. Her daughter confirmed, "Yes, Ma, she was doing japa and listening to her son's chanting." Mataji suggested sprinkling Ganga water on her chest, and a few drops of the sacred liquid were instilled into her mouth with a piece of cotton wool, as she was too weak to drink. Not for a moment did Mataji let her eyes off her. Suddenly Mataji got up and walked straight to the dying woman. With great motherly affection, she gazed at her, placed a garland on her chest, and then with a swift and determined gesture passed both her hands over the shriveled body from head to foot. Then the end came. It was an unforgettable and most impressive moment. Blessed are those who end their days in this manner and in the holy presence of Ma. Incident 7. In October 1954, the new ashram at Ranchi was opened in Mataji's presence during the celebration of the Durga Puja under a pandal in the open space adjoining the ashram. At that time, it was suggested that an image of the goddess Kali should be installed in the new ashram. A devotee donated 1,000 rupees for the purpose, and Sri Nitai Pal, the noted artist of Bengal, who had sculpted the beautiful twin statues of Nitai Gauranga for the temple at our Vrindavan ashram, was commissioned to carve an image of Kali to be installed on the Diwali day the next year. Mataji herself gave some indication of how the image should be made. While, for example, Kali is usually black, this Kali was to be made of the hue of the heavy gray-blue clouds that gather before the monsoon breaks. The statue finally made out was expected to be unusually alive and impressive. During the consecration, a strange thing happened. The priest, a brahmachari of our ashram who had been a student of science, noticed that the locket suspended on a golden chain with the neck of the goddess was adorned, vibrated distinctly as if the statue was breathing. When afterwards he carefully examined the image to make sure whether there was any physical cause to the phenomena, he found to his amazement that the locket had got stuck at a point that was not yet quite dry. Since the room in which the statue was installed seemed quite inadequate as a sanctuary of the goddess, it was suggested that a